谁怎么做，怎么说我不在乎，你什么脸色我什么态度。人人都有好皮囊，但未必有好心肠，骗子也不会把坏字写在脸上。我信了最真的话，换来最致命的伤，到头来善良的人总被人放冷枪。熬过这大风大浪，不再吃谁给的糖，以后再不会把傻子写在头上，真心只给我自己，也不再追究过往，活得像风才对得起我受过的伤。
婚礼当日，新娘突然加38万的彩礼。
On the wedding day, a bride in Zhejiang suddenly demanded an additional 380,000 yuan as a bride price. Unless your family is very wealthy, most people would not be able to accept it. It was probably the bride's parents or elders who made these demands. If this woman truly loved this man, she would definitely stand up for this man. But she did not. She did not stand up for this man, so the groom gave her up. If you have ever loved someone, you would definitely understand the reason behind it. Most likely, loving her felt like loving himself, and he even loved her more than he loved himself. So it should be that the groom was already completely heartbroken at that moment, which is why he made such a shocking decision. He actually chose to end his own wedding with a song. What do you think?
这两天，安徽的一位新娘火了，本以为只有电视剧才有的场景竟然发生了。
In the past 2 days, a bride in Anhui went viral. A scene that people thought only existed in TV dramas actually happened. It happened in Huaibei, Anhui. On the wedding day, the bride's family suddenly demanded an additional 130,000 yuan as a bride price. The groom heard this news on the way to pick up the bride, got furious, and took a taxi and left, leaving only the pickup convoy and the beautifully decorated wedding cars. According to insiders, before the wedding, the man had already bought a 300,000 yuan car and an apartment in downtown Huaibei. On the wedding day, who would have thought the woman's side would suddenly raise the bride price, insisting on 130,000 yuan, so the groom, in a burst of anger, took a taxi and left. To be honest, asking for a bride price is indeed a common practice in some places in China. The purpose is to make the man value their daughter more, and also to give their daughter more security in her future life. But this kind of last-minute bride price increase not only loses credibility and dignity, it also turns marriage into a transaction. Don't you think so? Not to mention that marriage is not a transaction. Even if marriage were a transaction, I think raising the price on the spot would still be despised, right? Changing the original agreement at will and raising the price at the last minute maybe was to press down the man's side and to gain the initiative after marriage, which is the so-called attitude that some natal families talk about. But with such a lion's open-mouth attitude and posture, what man could stand it? Don't you think so?
彩礼正在毁掉这届年轻人的爱情。
Don't get married. Don't get married at all. Bride prices are destroying young people's love. My younger sister got married some time ago, and the bride price was 300,000 yuan. They had been together for 7 years, and now because of the bride price issue, the two of them fight every day, and the whole family has all kinds of ideas and suggestions because of this. The woman's side thinks they are marrying off such a precious daughter, and it cost more than this 300,000 yuan to raise her. The man's side thinks 300,000 yuan is a bit too much, and they fear he might marry a gold digger. At that time I said to my aunt, I said, "Aunt, that's enough. Whether they can live well together is the most important thing for the two of them." My aunt said, "Your marriage turned out fine, why can't you think more for your younger sister?" Actually, about the topic of bride price, I really wanted to talk about this when I got married some time ago. For the man's family, the bride price is an entry fee, and if you don't pay it, you may be scolded for having no sincerity. For the woman's family, the bride price is a sense of security, and if they take too little, they worry their daughter will be mistreated after she marries over. Both sides are calculating the financial account, and it feels to me like Party A and Party B are running a company. Other families all ask for a bride price. If we don't, it makes the daughter seem less valuable. And just on the bride price issue alone, both sides talked about it at least 70 or 80 times. I remember I got married 3 months ago, my mother-in-law came alone, and we ate for 2 hours. Before that, my mother and my mother-in-law had never met. After I got home, my mom asked me if it was okay, I said okay, and the next month we got engaged. I feel this matter is very simple. Marriage should be an adult's decision, right? If you think it's okay, then let's do it. No matter whether you are the man or the woman, you should step forward and say one clear sentence. Because at this time, you need to make your own decision. You can't get married and still rely on your parents to manage everything, right? Because you are leaving your first family, and you are forming a new family as two people, so don't let parents get involved too much. It really affects the relationship between the two of you. If you think it won't work, then don't do the whole crying, making a scene, and threatening suicide. When you force the man to pay a bride price like this, in the end the two of you get married and everything becomes conflict. At this point someone will say, my partner and I have a great relationship, if we can't agree on the bride price, we can only break up. Throughout our lives, we are looking for someone we can talk to, someone who listens to you, understands you, and is willing to listen to your nonsense. This thing that seems unbelievably simple, in my view, you have to be very lucky to meet it. So if you really meet it, then truly don't argue until it becomes irreconcilable because of money, and in the end break up. This thing truly cannot be brought into the world and cannot be taken out of the world. Do you want security? Do you want 1 year of security, or a lifetime of security? If you really marry an unreliable person, can this 300,000 yuan protect you for life? If you really marry a very reliable person, after marriage won't you gain more? So marriage is really not a partnership company, it is the symbiosis of two souls, what we often call souls fitting together. But the premise is that you must first have yourself. Finally, I want to ask everyone a question. If your partner asks for a 300,000 yuan bride price, but your savings are only 80,000 yuan, do you choose to borrow money or break up? Or can you accept the man's family paying 0 bride price, but providing a 1 million yuan down payment for a marital home, or do you choose a 300,000 yuan bride price but no house and no car?
男朋友他妈催我们结婚，但又不接受我们家彩礼。
My boyfriend's mother urges us to get married, but she does not accept our bride price. My boyfriend and I have been together for more than 4 years. His mother wants us to get engaged quickly and get married quickly, so she called my mom and asked how much the bride price is in our area. My mom said that in our area, the bride price is generally more than 160,000 to 200,000 yuan, basically 160,000 yuan. His mother said she couldn't accept it. My mom said then can we do the same as when her older sister got married, a 100,000 yuan bride price, and then gold is bought separately, is that okay? His mother still disagreed. My mom asked, then what range can you accept? His mother said 88,000 yuan, including gold and the meeting gift. If she says it like that, our family definitely cannot accept it. But my mom did not clearly say we couldn't accept it, she just said to her, I can't decide, our family needs to discuss it. Then his mother said, if your family wants that much bride price, I don't have that much money, I can only borrow money, take out a loan. If creditors come to the door in the future, and the young couple are at home, then we will lose face. Then she also said, she watched videos and saw other families with a 160,000 yuan bride price, and the comment section was all scolding. Does that mean that because my family's bride price is 160,000 yuan, you want to scold our family? Then she said many other very unpleasant things, and her attitude was very bad. It felt like she wasn't trying to marry in a daughter-in-law, it was like bargaining in a vegetable market, or buying something, negotiating the price there. It made my mom feel very bad. After hanging up, my boyfriend's mother told him that today the two sides discussed the bride price, and it collapsed. My boyfriend was very worried, so he took leave from work and ran to my home to talk with my mom. Our family, seeing that my boyfriend was very sincere and had a very good attitude, said if you think the bride price is high, we can talk properly, and we can reduce it appropriately, but you can't say there's no room for discussion, being unreasonable like that. In the end, the result we negotiated was a 120,000 yuan bride price, gold bought separately, and if funds are insufficient, it's okay to make up the rest after marriage, but this is the very, very, very worst case plan. My boyfriend's mother had also told him in advance that they could take out 120,000 yuan, but it was also the worst case plan. And the 120,000 yuan their family mentioned includes gold and the meeting gift. When it got to the evening, my boyfriend's mother called him and asked how the bride price negotiation went today. My boyfriend told his mother the situation. My boyfriend's mother said, you have already fixed it at 120,000 yuan, and I will have nothing to say to the woman's mother in the future. Then this year you must marry this wife back. If she doesn't marry over before the new year, then I definitely will not give her this 120,000 yuan. Even if I give it, I won't care about you anymore in the future. Although I may think this is said in anger, but isn't this exactly having no room for negotiation? My boyfriend and I cherish this relationship very much, but because of his mother's attitude, it made my mom feel that if I marry over in the future and marry into their family, my life will be very bad, very unhappy, and she is already very worried. And she thinks that if we become in-laws like this, there is no need to have any contact in the future, because they are not sincere, outwardly one thing and behind the scenes another. My boyfriend's idea is that if his mother really doesn't care, they will give whatever they can, and he will borrow the rest, and after he borrows the money we will get engaged. It puts huge pressure on my boyfriend. But the main reason I want to break up is still his mother. I don't want to make my boyfriend feel stuck, but I can't bear to leave him. My family are all urging me to break up. I truly don't know what to do now. How on earth should this be resolved?
这彩礼高不？
这农村正常，有15万的，还有20万分家庭条件呗。家那天讲怎么也得10万3的，这说实话。
那你觉得这个对咱来说算一个负担吗？
那能没有负担？这没有负担的没办法啊！你为儿你娶媳妇儿，你没有负担，钱不到位，你来吗？
完，江西出一个政策，很多地方说是，限制这个彩礼的钱，然后就是平均收入的什么3倍，就是6万，还有限制8万的。你觉得这事能执行了不？
实行不了，你一方不干，这指定实行不了。中国就这个规矩啊，那这事能实行得了？不好使。人还有说不要的呢，人不要人家丫头，人家愿意，1分钱不要，那2头愿意，这么事儿。
在农村花100万，能不能把媳妇娶回家？
In rural areas, can you marry a wife with 1 million yuan? Let me calculate this account for you. Yesterday morning, I attended a friend's child's wedding. When exchanging wedding rings, the host asked the bride, "Are you willing to marry him as your husband? No matter whether in wealth or poverty, in health or illness, will you always stay by his side and never leave or abandon him?" The bride smiled sweetly and shyly answered, "I am willing." In an instant, the whole audience erupted into thunderous applause and cheers, and the groom's parents sitting below were moved to tears. But I know, these tears include the comfort of seeing the child grown, and also the helplessness of selling everything and being buried in debt. Because 10 minutes before the couple went on stage, the bride suddenly said, on the basis of the originally agreed 188,000 yuan bride price, she wanted an additional 40,000 yuan stage fee. Otherwise she would refuse to go on stage. To prepare for this wedding, the elderly couple who only farm and do labor work had already drained their savings by buying a house and a car, and still owed a lot of debt. But if this 40,000 yuan was not paid, the wedding could not happen, and besides, relatives and friends were already seated. Helplessly, they found friends and scraped together the money on the spot, and only then did they get the bride's "I am willing" on stage. And what's even more heartbreaking is that on the second day after the wedding ended, the groom's father went out to work, because they have to repay the whole left by their son's marriage. This kind of phenomenon is everywhere in our hometown. So how much does it cost to get married? I roughly calculated it. 1 million yuan is definitely not enough, don't believe it? Listen to me calculate it for you. By the lowest standard we currently have, the engagement bride price is 38,000 yuan, buying the 3 pieces of gold jewelry costs 48,000 yuan, a phone is 10,000 yuan, bedding 4-piece set 5,000 yuan, pork, cigarettes, alcohol, and candies about 3,000 yuan, matchmaker 2,000 yuan per person. For one marriage you need at least 3 matchmakers, right? Then that's 6,000 yuan. There is also a big item not counted, which is the engagement banquet that is popular now. 1 table of dishes plus cigarettes, alcohol, and beverages costs 1,000 yuan. We'll calculate based on a family with relatively few relatives and friends, at least 25 tables, right? Then that's 25,000 yuan. Not counting those miscellaneous small costs, just getting engaged costs 135,000 yuan. Then let's continue to calculate getting married. Now in rural areas, children getting married require having a house and a car, and it must be paid in full. If it's a loan, before marriage it must be clearly written that the future loan will be paid by the elderly parents. In our county town, buying a cheaper house costs at least 600,000 yuan, renovation plus furniture and appliances costs 200,000 yuan. The car doesn't need to be too good, but it has to start at least 150,000 yuan. The wedding bride price is 188,000 yuan. The diamond ring 25,000 yuan. The couple rings 6,000 yuan. Wedding photos 8,000 yuan. 12 wedding cars. Even renting the most ordinary convoy costs 3,000 yuan. Also the wedding theme decoration 12,000 yuan. The wedding host plus photo and video and follow shooting costs 10,000 yuan. Bouquet and wedding candies 2,000 yuan. Convoy red envelopes 6,000 yuan. Door opening red envelopes 500 yuan. Change of address red envelopes 2,000 yuan. Food and alcohol are still calculated at the lowest 25 tables. One table 1,000 yuan. That's another 25,000 yuan. All of these add up to 1,237,500 yuan. If it's a long-distance marriage, you also have to arrange accommodation for relatives and friends. Adding the engagement costs we calculated, without mentioning the small expenses, to marry a wife and bring her home, it costs a total of 1,372,500 yuan. It really kills you. Even this, I calculated by the lowest standard, more than 1,300,000 yuan. Think about it, how many honest farming families can afford it? Brothers in front of the screen, we shout every day about resisting high bride prices and stopping extravagance and waste, but this bad trend has not been stopped. Instead it has gotten worse and worse. A bride price was originally meant to witness the beginning of a couple's new life. It is an accelerator that helps love be sweet and marriage be happy. Giving an appropriate amount is understandable, but it must be according to your means. You can't, for the so-called sense of ceremony, put expensive price tags on every part of marriage. It not only makes marriage change its flavor, it also makes the happiness that should have been there vanish.
In China, many women believe, you don't have a house. Why should I marry you? This idea must be changed little by little. If this idea does not change, if this culture is not corrected, China's marriage might collapse. Right now, our culture is a bit messed up, treating a house as a prerequisite for marriage. This culture must be corrected. If it is not corrected, it is a burden for our young people, whether male or female, it is a burden. They're the same people, a boy and a girl, and the boy must buy a house for the girl. Who told you must buy a house? It should be that two people work together, and after the husband and wife have money in the future, buying a house is fine. But the current demand is, once you get married, the boy must prepare a house for the girl. If he doesn't buy a new house, the girl refuses to marry. Including the current sky-high bride prices, I think these sky-high bride prices must be restricted. Many women's families open their mouths and say, you give me a 2 million yuan bride price, you give me a 1 million yuan bride price. And some brides, even at the wedding scene, when they're about to get out of the wedding car, they also say, you must give me another 100,000 yuan getting out of the car fee. This is all a kind of deformity. This is a deformed culture. This kind of culture should be completely thrown away. Otherwise, marriage for young people in China will become harder and harder.